IndyCar Shortening their 2021 weekend at 7 different racetracks. We'll explain more. Plus, Dillon opening up about mental health will describe the importance of mental health in motorsports right here on Grid tonight. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Joe Samaniego. With me, Kobe Lambert from the Podium Finish. We encourage our viewers to share their questions and comments in the chat room. We'll start with the news from the NTT IndyCar Series, and they're shortening their race weekends in 2021.
On Monday, David Malsher-Lopez from Motorsport.com reported that 7 IndyCar events will move to 2-day events. Those seven events are Barber Motorsports Park, the Indianapolis Road Course, Belle Isle in Detroit, Road America, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, Portland International Raceway, and WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. The street course races at St. Pete, Toronto, and Nashville will remain 3-day events. The move has been made to cut costs and reduce the potential spreading of the virus. Joe, do you see this potentially being a permanent move since cost cutting was the first reason for the change?
Potentially. One of the big things, of course, with this pandemic, it has made it hard for the series, the teams, without the fans being there to generate revenue, whereas from merchandise sales, having the fans go in there, being part of events, and of course, sponsorship events. I do see this more being just something for hopefully this year. Of course, the fans, they'll love to be there at the track for 3 days. But here's the big thing. 7 events, 1 day shorter. That's essentially 1 week of less cost for lodging, less meals to pay for everyone traveling to the track. So this is a big saving moment for the teams financially. Whether it becomes permanent, I think that's a really good question, especially for all our viewers in the chat room to discuss about.
Yes, it's really going to be interesting to see once this pandemic is over, what changes are going to stick, or we're going to revert to the way things used to be. I'm sure some of the changes we've seen throughout the pandemic, and not just IndyCar, all forms of motorsport, will remain. I think in the NASCAR world, we'll probably still have practice, but it won't be like this year where there's hardly any practice at all, minus a few rounds. I think we'll have practice back next year. I know the higher-ups at NASCAR have said the same thing, that they hope to get back to practice and qualify next season. It might be less practice. Instead of maybe 2 or 3 practice sessions, you might see 1 practice session for maybe 90 minutes or so, and that'll be it, and then go qualifying. But definitely really good that IndyCar is doing this cost-cutting move, especially all of the money that they've lost during this pandemic, and the same for other racing series around the world. And the Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle race weekend is unique because it's a doubleheader, the Detroit doubleheader. So it will be essentially 2 single-day events. How big of a challenge will this be for the teams?
For the teams, this is going to be really interesting because this, along with the shorter race weekends, where it just puts a big emphasis on loading the car and the car coming from the truck being really fast on the track, Detroit, you're literally just going to have that 1 day, unload the car, maybe a practice session, a qualifying session, race. If you're behind everybody else, you're in trouble. If you're ahead of everybody, you got a really good shot. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody sweeps the weekend at Detroit this year because of this.
The 2021 NTT IndyCar Series season is scheduled to begin on April 18th at Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama. Coverage of the Honda Grand Prix of Alabama begins at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on your local NBC station. And now here's Matt White with the Grid World Motorsport League update.
Hi everyone, Matt White here from the Grid World Motorsport League, back again to give you another Grid World Motorsport League Top 10 update for week 3 of our championship for 2021. We've got our first new entry this week. Double Truck Series winner Ben Rhodes is into the top 10. He's in 3rd position. As you can see here from the new top 10 for week 3, he's on 17 points. So just under 2 points behind our still joint leaders Manuel Maldonado and Roy Petton, and the Asian Le Mans Series LMP3 champions, along with Wayne Boyd, who's in 4th position on the leaderboard. A little bit of a down week this week. We've only got 2 scoring races at Phoenix for the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series, so shouldn't expect too many changes. John Hunter Nemechek, of course, won the truck race on Friday night at Las Vegas. He's 11th in the table, so just outside the top 10. Kyle Larson, the Cup winner, is 35th overall, and he's also our Performer of the Weekend. He gets the award after his victory in the Cup race at Vegas. So congratulations to Kyle and the Hendrick team. 2 Hendrick cars winning from the first 4 Cup Series races of the season. So Kyle Larson are performing on the weekend. This weekend's Grid World Motorsport League Video Vault Race Rewind is our second WRC selection from the spinning of the wheel that you may have seen on Twitter for the season, and it has gone back to 2004, our second visit to 2004. Tour de Corsica is the selection on this week's Grid World Motorsport League Video Vault Race Rewind. That's gone up on Twitter today. As I've said, Xfinity and Cup Series to score this week in the Grid WML, and then we really kick off the season because next week we've got Atlanta triple header for NASCAR, Sebring 12 hours, and 3 races for the Repco Supercars Championship, which means they will be eligible for WML points and a position in the top 10 standings. So we'll have to see how they fare in a couple of weeks. I'll be back next week to give you an update for what went down at Phoenix for week 4 of the Grid World Motorsport League.
Now, as you may have seen during Matt's report, Adam from the chat room bringing up about Shane Van Gisbergen, well, Saturday morning, the points leader of the Repco Supercars Series, Shane Van Gisbergen, had a severe accident while mountain biking. He was taken to a hospital and successfully underwent surgery on a collarbone. A metal plate was inserted and a full recovery is expected. Shane will miss the Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia at Phillip Island. He will use the time to rest up and be ready for Sandown Super Sprint March 20th through the 21st. We wish Shane a speedy recovery. Is missing the upcoming weekend and using the 13 days to recover enough time for him to be 100%?
Joe, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say 100% sure if Shane Van Gisbergen will be 100%. But certainly the extra time until the next round will certainly help him a little bit. I mean, if he was having the race the very next weekend, probably guarantee he probably would not be out there. But definitely any extra time you can get is great for Shane Van Gisbergen. I remember last year when the pandemic first started, NASCAR's Brett Moffitt broke both of his legs and I believe it might have been a dirt bike accident. And during the time NASCAR was off, Moffitt was able to have surgery, recover, and he didn't miss a single race. I know obviously this is a completely different situation, so there might be some discomfort when Shane Van Gisbergen gets back behind the wheel, but I'm sure as his body heals over time, he'll be back to 100% in no time.
You bring up a really good point, especially what we saw happen with Marc Marquez coming back a little too soon. 13 days seems like a good enough time. Definitely, of course, we're hoping Shane has a speedy recovery so he is 100%. Last thing we want is him or any racer to go out there and, of course, risk re-injuring themselves to a worse degree. Of course, most drivers, especially in the professional level, under contracts, they have clauses, particularly not to participate in sports that may result in injuries. There are some drivers, they have said skydiving is an activity they're not allowed to do under contract. Sometimes this includes other forms of motorsport. Where is the line drawn between allowing the driver option to participate in such activities and limiting away their freedoms of doing what they choose to away from the track?
Oh, Joe, that's a really tough question to answer. I think it really comes down to team owner and driver there. I think that's a private conversation between those two. And we've seen time and time again where team owners will not let drivers do certain things, and also not just in racing, but other sports as well. Like every time I see Bubba Wallace riding his motorcycle, I cringe just a little bit, thinking what it would be like as a team owner. Like when you're watching, you understand that, some people like to ride motorcycles, and Bubba obviously really likes riding his, but there's always a chance that he could get in a very serious road accident and get seriously injured or even worse. So definitely there's a risk there riding a motorcycle. And in the NFL, I remember Patrick Mahomes, star quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. It was like a video posted online. He was playing basketball, and right after the Kansas City Chiefs saw that video of him playing basketball, and he had some really sick moves there. I'm thinking he might be able to go pro in basketball too, such a good athlete. But when Kansas City saw that video of Patrick Mahomes playing basketball, they were like, never again. They made it where he cannot play basketball again during his time in Kansas City right now, because there's always a chance, playing basketball, you could tear an ACL right there, and that'll be the end of his NFL season. So you definitely don't want to take that risk. And also with Kyle Busch, we know Kyle Busch has wanted to run the Indianapolis 500, but there's been something holding him back within the team at JGR, where where he couldn't really get an opportunity to run the greatest spectacle in racing. And I think with Kyle's current contract now, he would be able to do that. But under his previous deal, Kyle wasn't able to run something like the Indianapolis 500. I know with some of the dirt drivers out there, like Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, they can only run a select number of dirt races per year because, as we see in sprint car racing, is extremely dangerous, and there's always a potential for something bad to happen there. So in NASCAR with dirt races, sometimes the team owners have to like put the foot down and say you can only run this amount because if you get hurt, I'm gonna be in some trouble with our cup program.
Especially with the cup programs, sponsorships that are putting millions of dollars to see that driver in that car. Last thing they want to hear is, oh, we're going to have a substitute driver. Substitute driver might be just as qualified. But here's the thing, they put the millions of dollars on the line for a particular driver to go out there, contend for wins, contend for a championship. I do agree, it is something where it's up to the team and the driver, private. We are, of course, speculative when it comes to where that line is. I think that is just something where, especially when you get to the higher levels, that is something I think a lot of folks sometimes are not aware of, that drivers have in their contracts, they can only do so many other motorsport events outside of NASCAR or IndyCar. And that includes activities like skydiving, mountain biking for even some. So it's definitely something where when it comes to negotiating for contracts with the teams and drivers, this is just one of those elements as well. Now, of course, Sandown Super Sprint is March 20th through the 21st. We'll have Adam, our Grid Live pre-race supercar expert, on the air that weekend as well. Don't miss us. Grid Live pre-race on Saturday, March 20th. Now, Formula One last week announced it was returning to Portimao. On Friday, March 5th, Formula One confirmed it will be returning to Portimao in Portugal. The Portuguese Grand Prix will be the third round of the 2021 Formula One season, according to Motorsports.com. This is the second time that Algarve International Circuit will host Formula One. Last year, it produced an exciting race that saw low grip, lead changes, and plenty of overtaking. Sir Lewis Hamilton earned his 91st career win at this circuit. This is made possible by the effort between the promoter and the Portuguese government. The same circuit was scheduled to host the opening round of the World Endurance Championship this year. However, that race has been rescheduled to June 13th due to travel restrictions caused by the pandemic. Potentially, we could see this circuit and supporters of this race try to make the case to host Formula One Grand Prix racing in the future, post-pandemic, more regularly. Monday, NASCAR racer Ty Dillon posted a powerful episode on his podcast titled I Quit Today. In the podcast episode, Ty opens up about the rough start to his 2021 season, not in the Cup Series, torn up race cars, and trying to be a good husband and father. Ty broke down and opened up to his wife and many on the stress and pain lately. Ty opened up about his challenges and opening up publicly about the importance of mental health. Motorsports have always been a sport that projected a tough guy, masculine image. However, toxic masculinity is unhealthy, and this includes suppressing mental health. Suppressing emotions such as grief, sadness, and pain is often something men are encouraged to hide. Fear about being called less than a man or weak for opening up about their emotions. However, this is unhealthy and should be noted. We are seeing more drivers open up. In 2019, Bubba Wallace opened up during a press conference about his struggle with depression. In 2020, the CDC reported that 40% of Americans struggle with mental health or worse, substance abuse, an unhealthy escape for the pain and suffering. Another common mental health issue that is starting to be discussed more and more, trauma. Trauma is caused by a deeply distressing or disturbing experience, such as a severe accident. Roman Grosjean was encouraged to share his experience in Bahrain. Sharing the experience and the emotion is a healthy way of recovering from surviving what would have been a fatal accident a few years ago. Taking care of your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Ty Dillon shared his struggle not to have people feel sorry for him. Ty Dillon shared his struggle to empower other people going through the same. Ty shared with everyone struggling with mental health they are not alone. A NASCAR driver is human, just like anyone else. Ty Dillon shared he finds strength by sharing his emotions and feelings with his wife and his faith. Ty encouraged everyone to talk to somebody, whether it's a family member, trusted friend, spiritual guidance, and not be afraid to open up. The comments on his post were all supportive, and many thanks from people going through similar experiences. We echo Ty's message in taking care of your mental health, opening up, especially when you're not feeling okay. The worst thing you could do is hide and suppress your emotions. We support Ty in opening up and grateful for drivers like him for being a positive role model.
It's really important for members of the motorsports community to speak out about their mental health struggles, and it can really make others feel more comfortable to speak out themselves about their own struggles. And I understand it's not really easy to speak out about this stuff because you might get attacked by some people, as we saw with Ty Dillon. Yes, Joe, I do agree that that there was a lot of overwhelmingly supportive comments of Ty Dillon and his mental health in the video, but one thing you did mention, there were also a lot of very ugly, nasty, hateful comments as well, which drew the ire of motorsports journalists, well-respected motorsports journalist Jeff Gluck from The Athletic. And it's something that he didn't like. A lot of people in the motorsports community didn't like, fans. I didn't like it. I know you didn't like it either, Joe. It was just really heartbreaking reading all those disgusting comments that people were leaving Ty Dillon, those insults and mean things from fans, in quotes, because that's not real fans at all. They're just people just trying to be mean just for the sake of being mean. But I definitely do think that the good comments outweighed all the bad ones. I think that's the main thing there, that there's way more people with Ty Dillon and supporting mental health awareness than those who just want to be bullies and tear you down. And it's really important for figures like Ty Dillon to speak out because it's extremely important. He has a platform as a professional athlete. He can help make a difference. And in the stigma against mental health, but unfortunately, the stigma is still there. As we saw recently in the news, I'm sure a lot of you out there have either watched the interview or read highlights about it. Oprah Winfrey, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, about their experience with the royal family over in the United Kingdom. And when Meghan Markle spoke out about her mental health issues, it drew the ire of a lot of people, especially British broadcaster Piers Morgan on Good Morning Britain. And Piers said some things about Meghan Markle, like he didn't believe her mental health comments, and basically dismissing everything and thinking that she's not telling the truth at all, telling lies, and just a whole bunch of real troubling things. And in the end, Piers Morgan actually left the show Good Morning Britain, and he faced significant backlash for downplaying Meghan Markle's mental health concerns. And CNN reported this morning that Meghan Markle actually filed a complaint to the station that Piers Morgan was working on, not because of all the personal attacks that's been going on forever between Morgan and Markle, but because she was extremely disappointed in the message that Piers Morgan was sending by downplaying mental health, and that can definitely contribute to the stigma.
That is a good point that you bring up. One of the big things, of course, when I was seeing those comments, first thing I thought of course, was feeling angry. It's like some of these folks haven't experienced, or they think they haven't experienced mental health issues. But here's the thing, even just trauma, suppressing your feelings, not sharing it, while it may not drive some people a little bit to the point where, they have that mental breakdown, for some, it does. For somebody that's like looking for a job 15 months like myself, there are days that it's really hard to just accept the fact that you've gone 15 months without a job, nobody hiring you. 40% of Americans are struggling through mental health. What I'm seeing with Ty Dillon, he is being really brave and saying, hey, I went through this. I know you're going through this most likely. If you're listening to me, you are not alone. For the people that were there being what they want to be, saying what they want to say, that's your take. We're not listening to you. We're listening to Ty. We're listening to the other people that feel comfortable sharing their emotion. I think it's a really important movement that we're seeing amongst motorsports and the younger generations. It always seems like, especially the younger generation, Gen Z crowd, of course, which are more engaged in NASCAR, they're more open to talking about mental health, which is just as important as physical health, and it's something that we encourage all our viewers And everyone that follows the grid, be sure to take care of yourself physically, mentally, and never, ever feel like you're alone. We displayed there the crisis hotline for people that are going through mental health problems or substance abuse problems. It's free and it's in English and Spanish. Now, two drivers that are also role models, Katherine Legge Christina Nielsen. They will be racing full-time the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Series Championship. Legge and Nielsen will be racing the Team Hardpoint EBM Porsche 911 GT3R, sponsored by Richard Mille, Porsche, and Michelin. The third member of the all-female driver rotation for next week's Mobile One 12 Hours has yet to be named. Last year, European Le Mans Series had two all-female teams, the LMP2 driven by Pietzke Visser, Sophia Flores, and Tatiana Calderon. The Iron Dames with Manuela Gosner, Rahel Fry, and Michelle Gadney. The next IMSA race is the Sebring 12 Hours. And a friendly reminder, we will have pre-race coverage of the 12 Hours of Sebring with a special Grid Life IMSA pre-race. Myself, Kobe, and Aaron Vogel, who's coming off two top 5 finishes at Sonoma, will preview the race Saturday, the morning of the Sebring 12 Hours, March 20th.
Yes, Joe, definitely looking forward to doing our IMSA coverage again with Aaron Vogel, who had a really great run this past weekend at Sonoma Raceway in GT World Challenge America. Yesterday, the entry list was unveiled for this year's running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. After being absent in 2020, Corvette Racing will return to the grid. Full season Corvette factory drivers Antonio Garcia and Jordan Taylor will be joining the number 63 Corvette C8R by Nicky Katzberg. Nick Tandy, Tommy Milner, and Formula E driver Alexander Sims will complete the lineup in the number 64 Corvette. How exciting is it to see the new mid-engine Corvette at the French Endurance Classic for the first time, especially with a 62-car entry list?
It is very exciting to see Corvette return to Le Mans, especially after a year absence, and a full field really starts to feel like the Le Mans that we're usually up for seeing all the time. Now, one thing we do want to share from the chat room, one of our viewers, talk about how mental health is no joke, struggling with anxiety, and it's just a constant battle. I could tell you firsthand, especially as I mentioned, mental health is such a big issue, and thank you for sharing your comment. I know you're not the only one. I myself go through anxiety, depression as well, and just encourage everyone to keep talking. But definitely, Kobe, when it comes to the 24 Hours Le Mans, going back to what we're talking about, it's really exciting to see Chevrolet full field. And of course, anytime there's racing, I always feel that is some form of unofficial therapy.
Yeah, definitely. Just racing during this pandemic in general, it's been my biggest therapy and really helpful to my mental health. Without racing, I don't even know where I would be right now. I'd probably be somewhere all alone, all by myself. It's just racing in general. This is my medicine. This is how I make it from week to week. And just being here on grid talking about racing during the off season helped me get through the off season. So I'm just overall just blessed to be here. And going back to Le Mans 62 car entry list, it's going to be interesting to see if that will stand. And we all know with the uncertainty of the pandemic that could certainly change with potential withdrawals. Last year, the race was postponed to September. This resulted in several teams withdrawing from the event, including Corvette, Toyota Gazoo Racing, won overall last year, making it 3 in a row. This year, Toyota is going to be going for 4 in a row with their new hypercar. And that brings us to our next point. Last week, we reported on the potential of Le Mans and the scheduling conflicts. On Thursday, March 4th, the official announcement was made that the 24-hour race will be held on the weekend of August 21st through the 22nd. In response to a date change, IMSA rescheduled the GT-only round at Virginia International Raceway. The new date for the IMSA GT race is October 9th, was going to be live on NBC. It will also become the IMSA WeatherTech Sprint Cup season finale for the GT Daytona class, and a new date for the 24th run in other Motul Petit Le Mans. It's really crazy that event's only been around for 24 years. Yeah, but Petit Le Mans will take place on Saturday, November 13th, instead of traditional October, and to close out and it's going to close out both the 2021 WeatherTech Championship and the IMSA Michelin Endurance Cup seasons. The NTT IndyCar Series and Repco Supercars Series in Australia haven't announced any changes to their schedule yet. Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to follow all of these developments. Now it's time for some quick takes.
Cole Custer's crew chief has been suspended for the Phoenix weekend. Mike Shiplett has been fined $20,000 and suspended for one race due to a loose lug nut found in the post-race inspection at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. In total, there was 2 loose lug nuts. So engineer Gavin Restivo will be in the pit box. In his absence, Cole finished 22nd and 16th in both Phoenix races last year. It will be interesting to see how he does this weekend.
NASCAR officials will reveal Kyle Busch's spin during the truck race at Las Vegas. Scott Miller, NASCAR Senior Vice President of Competition, said yesterday on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Kyle Busch brought out the caution after he spun with a flat tire at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Busch declined to answer a question asked by Bob Progress from Fox Sports about the spin, and he just said, nope. NASCAR may look into more stringent stance when it comes to incidents like this, where it looks like a driver intentionally spun out to cause the caution. And we saw 2019 Bubba Wallace at Texas spun out to bring out a caution and admitted that he caused the caution on purpose and got penalized for that. And also Dillon Hart Jr. in 2004 also fined for causing intentional cautions.
Kevin Harvick and Ryan Preece will be racing in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. They will drive the number 17 Ford, owned by David Gillian. Kevin Harvick will race at the Bristol Dirt Racetrack to gain more experience on dirt, while Ryan Preece will drive the number 17 at Nashville Superspeedway and Pocono. Harvick also announced that he'll be competing in the Xfinity's Circuits of America, Road America, and Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course races, driving a second Stewart-Haas Racing Ford.
Revisiting our report on mental health and motorsport, first and foremost, I just want to say that I struggle with my mental health as well, especially sometimes here on the air talking to all of you guys out there watching at home. When I feel like I'm not performing the best or make a mistake when I'm broadcasting to you live, I'll be honest with you, Joe will tell you, after I broadcast, I'll really beat myself up and be extremely disappointed, and that will weigh on me for a while until I do something good the next time. And yeah, and this is something that I'm trying to work on. And on another point, some of the things that's happened to me in the past year, but I was like a finalist to get an internship in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2020. Then the pandemic hit, and that golden opportunity that I was going to get to potentially put me in a great position for the future in motorsports, gone completely. And you can imagine how that made me feel. I dropped in a deep state of depression because I felt like everything that I've been working really hard for in recent years was completely over. But then I found Grid Network and everything's been going smoothly since. I still don't really know what my long-term future is, but I'm just trying to live for now. It's a really serious issue, so definitely that's why we're highlighting mental health in motorsports. Supercars driver Chaz Mostert released a statement, while not directly related to, but relatable to the mean comments directed towards Ty Dillon's podcast about his mental health. Mostert started off by saying that most of us can handle a mean comment from time to time because it shows that we are doing something right. However, it bothers him when a random stranger on the internet says something hurtful when they don't even know the person on a personal level. Mostert referred to it as cowardly and pathetic, believing that it isn't just related to sports, but everyday life. Mostert urged his followers to set a better example for the next generation because today's behavior sets a dangerous precedent. Bringing up an example of kids not just being bullied during school hours, but on social media before and after school. Then he said, no matter how hard your life is, you don't drag someone down to your level. Ending with the moral of the story in bold letters. You can check out Chaz Mostert on Twitter and stuff to see those bold letters. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And here's my message to all of our viewers. Remember that the next time you disagree with someone's opinion, the next time you think about tweeting something hateful to a driver, media member, or individual in general, because you have no idea what that person is going through, and your harsh words could be extremely harmful to them.
Very good points I bring up, and very brave of you as well to share that, Kobe. I know it's something where everybody, I think, has some level of mental health challenges, because it's not just one person. 40% of Americans, that's such a high level. I think it's really good. We feel comfortable discussing that. Of course, we encourage everyone to be sure to invest in the Grid Network. Visit our Patreon page. Special thank you for Colin for keeping us on the air throughout 2001. And we want to thank all our new subscribers on YouTube, Twitter, and especially on TikTok there. Right there on TikTok, we also posted Pick a Winner for this weekend. Be sure to participate. Follow the Grid Network, and of course the Grid World Motorsport League on Twitter at grid_WML. Now, tomorrow is March 11th, 1 year from the start of essentially the pandemic in the United States. Be sure to check out our documentary 2020 Racing with Uncertainty. And we encourage everyone to visit Publis. Get your furry family member goodies, dog leashes, clothing, and accessories for dogs of all sizes. 10% of your purchase goes toward helping homeless, sick, and rescue dogs, a great cause that we all support. Thursday, women racing to win. Saturday, Grid Life pre-race previewing the upcoming NASCAR weekend at Phoenix. Like and subscribe to the Grid Network on YouTube. For Kobe Lamb at the podium finish, I'm Joe Samaniego. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. Joe Samaniego here. Want to invite you to go check out Publis. Publis is a dog clothing and accessory company based in Austria. 10% of each of your purchases goes to helping dogs in need, whether it's homeless, sick, or ill dogs. This is one of the reasons why we support it. Kiska here is a rescue dog from rural Alaska and our Grid office dog. We care about our furry buddies, and we know you do as well. Definitely check out Publis.com. There's a link on the video description, and by clicking on that link, you get a 10% discount on your purchase as well.